Hello, and welcome to the Puppet Pit. If you don't find what you're looking for, just scream. I should have had a scream sound effect. Hi! I'm back. You see there's people here already? That's good to know. It's been a while. Few changes. This much of it is particularly for Halloween, but I have been experiencing a bit of a goth resurgence. As you may be able to tell. Hi, how you doing, everyone? I've got the wrong, something's gonna go wrong. I've got the wrong restream chat up, so I can't actually see numbers, and that's probably good. I'm gonna leave it like that. There's people here, that's all I care about. How you doing? One thing did actually go wrong. PeerTube isn't working at the moment. You can't test this stuff until you go live, and well, you know. Yeah, so yes, the over the top of this is definitely for this special occasion, but get used to some of it. I've got back into nail polish and a bit of eyeliner, so you know. Thank you very much. It is nice to be back. If you hear sirens, I promise it's not me. It's living in the middle of a city. So, of course, my nose is running. You know, I'm wearing makeup, so of course. 1 second. It's all right. I'm used to it. Yeah. For those of you who haven't known me for years. This isn't new. This is just the latest iteration thereof. But yeah, I hope y'all are doing well. Why was I gone for so long? I imagine is at least one of the questions. Hope you can hear me okay. Everything's good. I had to, of course, rebuild absolutely everything, the whole build stream setup from the ground up. For good reasons. I have simplified things quite a lot. There were just too many moving parts. So hopefully things are working. Again, you can't test this stuff until it goes live. Let me know if you can hear me. Everything sounds good. Excellent. You can hear the music too. Just want to make sure. They can get, look, he's got black lipstick on the coffee cup already. Of course. Yeah, this is real serious nostalgia stuff for Jamie. I wasn't wearing full makeup, I don't think, when we met, but I mean, I went through a period, of course, y'all know, I've talked about it many times. I'm a old school goth from the 80s, and you know, from ages about 16 to 28 or so, I wouldn't leave the house without at least eyeliner. So yeah, this is not new. I've had to adjust because since the last time I did full makeup, my face has changed shape, like I've aged quite a bit. So you can't just do the same, because I was like pretty boy before, right? Can't do pretty boy anymore, let me tell you. So I've leaned into the corpse paint thing. I think it works better for me. Like the lipstick is actually following my natural kind of creases and folds, and I've got some pretty good bags going on under there. So you know, you make that stuff work for you. So never blow your nose after a night is sad. Yeah, I know. You know. Wouldn't be the first time. Hey. So yeah, I've been gone for a bit. Not gone. I've still been here. I've been doing my thing. If you've been hanging out on the Discord, you know everything's been fine. Yeah, backwards. But yeah, well, that's the thing. Like a couple of, you know, Jamie and Mark who are here in the chat. Nice to see you. Thank you. We all met, or at least I met them at a goth club that my now wife was working at the time. I worked in goth clubs. It's a long history. There's a reason I had all this stuff, right? You know, because not new. So yes, hashtag join the Discord. Thank you. I like the lipstick. I think, you know, who knows? We'll might stick with the lipstick. We'll see. Maybe not for the average stream. I'll tell you though, the tricky part about the stream, greetings from Germany, nice. Didn't you and your wife work at the Sworn Enemy goth clubs? That's one of the misnomers. There wasn't, I mean, as far as I was aware. So yes, I worked at a club that was technically in competition with the club that my wife worked at. My future wife worked at. But I mean, we would go, like, at least in the early days. I don't know how it went afterwards. The club that I worked at just kind of fell apart because they couldn't manage a lemonade stand if their life depended on it. But anyway, that's a whole other tale to tell. But like when our club closed before the other club, we would just go to the other club. Like there was no, at least at the beginning, there was no rivalry. It was all just like one community kind of thing, you know. R.I.P. Nuts and Bolts. Yeah. Well, that Bolts was never my thing in Toronto. These are old goth clubs from Toronto. Twilight Zone was my thing. Twilight Zone and Pariah. And that was when I started. That was the thing. And then Backstreet, Dominoes, and there's a whole thing. Bolts was my wife's club. Again, we crossed paths. We went to the same high school even, and didn't really cross paths. It was weird. It's a whole other thing. But yeah, so we're gonna build some puppets. We are continuing building puppets. This is the first of another continuing series. We will be back. We will be doing them regularly on Wednesdays, as always. I hope. There may be pauses and gaps as usual, but hopefully this is the return. It's undead, etc. All other Halloween-y references. Well, what are we building today? Can you show us the newest puppet from the mines? I sure can. Let's see. This is the one I forgot. On the podcast, I talked about the recent Halloween build streams, or builds for Halloween. And I forgot one because I said there was 5 and I listed 4 and I forgot one. This is the one that I forgot. Still available. But it's thematically appropriate. You're a little bat small. Very cute. The eyes need to be adjusted, but you know. And this is the first one I've done where the arms are actually the wings. I know. There's one. And the other Halloween, yes, the bat. And we've also got, I should have planned ahead for this. I didn't. I've been too busy actually building the tech part of the build stream. Thank you, Joe. Nice to see you. And of course, our little witch, small. First time I've done this, and this is all 3D printed. And this is 3D printed actually, kind of hard to see. Of course, now it's out of focus. The hat's very cool because I used, this is thanks to Patrick from the Discord, community member of Operation Puppet, who found this little setting for the 3D printer slicer that's called Fuzzy Skin. I hadn't even heard of it before, but it creates this kind of texture that helps hide the layer lines, but as a nice consequence, it almost makes it look like fabric. So on the hat, it works particularly well because it just looks like a straw hat, right? So there we go. Okay, you want the ogre. The ogre's in a bin under the table, but you want the ogre. I gotta get the ogre. This is why I should have planned ahead, you see. I should have realized people are gonna want to see the ogre. The ogre is still available. Probably not for much longer, I would suspect, but give me a sec. I gotta pull, look at all this stuff I gotta pull out of here just to get the ogre out. This is my deep storage down in here. This is where the big puppets get stored. Okay, come on, ogre. Here we go. So this is part of a new line, as I talked about in the podcast. I like them so much. I'm just gonna keep doing them. Called Gauffs, G-A-U-F-F. Because I'm clever like that. Sparkling wordplay. And here we go. Hello. I said ogre. I contemplate existential reality. Very fashionable. So there we go. Yeah, this was really fun. So I have a bunch of metallic filament. So that's why I 3D printed jewelry. So these are all very lightweight. They don't, they don't add anything to the weight really. And yeah, so there we go. I like the ears flop around. There's just cardboard in there. I use some thin cardstock. I like how they got a little secondary motion with the ears. So So there we go. So here's the golf ogre. There you go. You got the ogre. They do add a lot of good motion. Yeah, that's the thing, right? I do want, because I could do these in foam, but they wouldn't move like this, right? So there we go. We'll put the ogre just over here, I guess, and hope that the cat doesn't do anything with the ogre. Yeah, let me get this stuff back out of the way, because we got one last build for the season. It's not really for the season, because obviously it's a little late now. Tomorrow is the day. Should be State of the Ogre. Yes, exactly. But what we're doing today is we are hopefully finishing or coming close to finish the build. This is the last build of the month. And so it is, I think I talked about it in the podcast, I don't actually remember. When I was building Mississippi, the Lady Gator, I did a number of prototype heads that weren't quite what I was looking for the alligator, but I liked the shape. And the very first thing that I thought of when I saw, I think it was the second prototype head, was this reminds me of a dragon. So that's what we're doing. We're finishing today. Hopefully it's going to be a dragon, but more than that, it's not just a dragon. Let's see, let's go to the wide shot here. How's that? There we go. So here it is. It's going to be a drag on. So we're doing a kind of over-the-top female presenting. Yeah. So what I've got, maybe a few things that we're going to be doing here. So I've got a couple of horns. I 3D printed a couple of horns. My puppet review is right here. Nice. And we've got these eyes, and these eyes are going to be nice, and we're going to put some big eyelashes on these. So we might do that first, actually. I've also got some 3D printed nails that we're going to put on. And I got some special plans for the hair here. So we've got this little sort of chunk of, this is actually just like a Barbie doll wig that I have sort of glued into a little skull cap here. And it's just a little piece, but we're gonna do something special with that. We'll get to that hopefully later. If we don't actually get to the putting it on the puppet part, I'll at least show you what I'm gonna do with it. But to start, so here of course is the base puppet. And this is all done, ready for finishing. So we've got a nice chunky tail here. And I'm also gonna put there's a lot of hair on it. I'm also gonna put like a ridge of blonde fur all the way down, going up the tail. And this hair is gonna be kind of just a little, almost like Gloria Swanson, like kind of over one side. You know. And we're also gonna do some lips. The lips are gonna take the most time, so maybe we should do that first. Because that is going to take the most time, because that's a lot of hand sewing. In which case I may not do it on stream. Maybe I'll pattern it out and I'll show you how I do that. But maybe I'll actually do the sewing part later. Let's see. So what I do, if I'm going to do lips, I'm going to have to stand up for this. So I apologize. I know I'm out of the camera shot. I realized one of the ways I've simplified the build stream is we're out one camera, right? We've only got two cameras. So what is the face cam and what is whatever camera we're looking at? And that seems to make the most sense. The third camera was always kind of pointless. Like it was so small to be useful. So why would you even do it? So anyway, pet fur and puppet's tails all the time. I know. Now, actually, this was wig fur or wig hair. That's all over because I was sort of testing out how the wig was going to sit. So what I do, when I'm going to do lips, let me grab a little piece of red fleece here. This is going to have to get the lint brush out and clean this. This is just red, just standard nylon fleece. We're going to do some nice big over the top lips. But to pattern this out, we're going to want to make sure it kind of fits properly on this particular snout. So what I usually do is I do a little bit of paper towel patterning. So I take a piece of paper towel. I'm going to cut this down to size with the not good scissors. We're in it. We're in it already. Look at this. We're going. So I'm going to cut this down to something a little bit more manageable. And we're just going to lay this on kind of how, now we do want to go sort of all the way down here. So we want to go around the curve of the mouth and inside the mouth as well, right? So that may actually not be big enough. Let me redo that. Because we are going to want to trace this to size. So the first thing I'm going to do, and we just kind of lay it over. Remember, this is what this is going to be cut out of is fleece, so it's going to stretch. It's going to sort of conform. Trixie Mattel is a good drag queen to pattern after. Some queens paint the back of the room. Trixie paints for people across the street from the venue. Nice. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take some pins. I'm going to pin this. It's a little tricky because we're going through the mouth plate here. I don't want to damage anything. Here we go. You don't have to be too fiddly because we're gonna take this off eventually. This is just kind of a guide, like a rough guide. We want to make sure we know where center is. That's good. I do want to pin it underneath if I can. That's going to be tricky because this is right under where the mouth plate is glued. There we go. There's one. Okay, so we kind of got it on there. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just kind of there. And then I'm going to take a very thin marker and very carefully, because this is just paper towel, so this will soak through and you don't want to mark up the fleece. I'm going to very lightly and very gently kind of trace out the shape. Very, very, just a rough it in of what I'm thinking of. So let's go up pretty far. We're going to do a nice big dramatic dip. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect, so don't even try. That looks pretty good. So now that we've got that, I know it's hard to see on the camera here, but I just kind of got it roughed out. And we take the pins out. Now to cut this out, show you a little trick for chewing it up, making it even. So let's go, I guess, to, oh, you know, maybe we should try the close-up cam. Just a sec, let me move some stuff out of the way here. Maybe this is, I have a new way of doing the close-up cam now. I'm just using a little webcam. So this is a bit rough as it is, but we'll fix that. Let's see how this is going to go. What is this? Maybe we can, not too bad. It's hard to sort of judge where. Okay, so here we go. Here's our basic pattern, right? And it's very, very crude. Now we can kind of make it a bit more now that we're not actually on the fleece. So we know this is about the shape that we're going for. Like I said, not gonna be perfect. Don't worry about making it perfect. But to cut this out and make it even, what we're gonna do is we're gonna figure out about where center is. So it's obviously gonna be at the dip in the lip line here. And I'm just gonna fold the paper in half. And then we're gonna cut it out along one side, and when you unfold it, of course, it's going to be completely even. There we go. So that's what we're going to cut out of our fleece. This should probably be a little bit better. This curve here, I forgot to finish this curve. There we go, that should be good. And of course we don't want that little dip in the middle, so we can just, there we go. So this is what we're gonna go with as the pattern for our top lip. Should be pretty close, and again, remember, this is fleece, so it's gonna stretch. So we can stretch it to what we really need and what looks good. When I trace this on, I'm gonna trace this slightly larger than what it actually is. So the direction of the stretch should go across horizontally. So it's gonna be like that. Okay. Make sure we're kind of on camera here. This is a bit weird and tricky to get. How's that? That's a little better. Does anyone remember the old animated movie Flight of Dragons? It was by the same studio that did the animated Lord of the Rings. I do not. I do not remember that. I need a different color pen to do this in. Do a darker red? Not really. I don't really want to do it in black. Yeah, black will be fine. So I'm just going to go around just the outside of this. It's better to have more than you need than not enough. That looks all right. A bit more of a curve on this one side. We'll just even that out. And we'll cut that out with the good scissors. Where am I going? Oh, you're there. I know this is going to be off camera. Ooh, we should go to the top cam for this bit. It is definitely better with the simplified camera setup here. And I think we're getting everything that I got before. It's as useful. It's just much more manageable on my end. That's one of the reasons why I had to take a break, was like there was just getting to be too many moving parts to this thing, and the maintenance of it was getting in the way of actually building puppets. And I needed to build a bunch of puppets because I had a bunch of commissions. So that's really it. That's the reason for the break. There was nothing dramatic or anything like that. I just needed some time. Of course, as a quote-unquote content creator, and yes, I still hate that term, you're always worried when you come back, is anybody going to be here? Nothing is worse for making number go down than taking a break and the attention economy drifts somewhere else, right? But y'all are still here, so thank you. That's very nice. I should know by now, puppet people are different. I heard that Frankie threatened to quit the streaming setup with simplified. It's true, I got sick of it. It's just too many moving parts. All right, so there we go. There's what will be our top lip. So now I know the focus is kind of weird because it's got to try it. There we go. The problem is actually the grid here. It wants to focus on the grid, not what's in the foreground. I should just put it on a fixed focus or something. Anyway, so now we're gonna go and do the bottom, and we're gonna do it the same way. The bottom we want slightly smaller widthwise, because obviously we've got a nice big overbite here, so it doesn't really matter. And you can kind of, the natural contour of the mouth kind of will dictate where that goes. So fairly simple. Same process as before. We'll just pin paper. Fold it over, because we do want to go right. And this is the one that will show, so you want to make sure that you get good coverage. Am I in the way? Of course I'm in the way. Great, we're having discussions like how far to dragify it. I am admittedly no expert. Trust me, there'll be plenty. Okay, so let's get our pen again. Very, very lightly. So we know the inside of the mouth kind of comes around like that. This little curve in there. I know you can't really see it, but trust me, it's there. Just gonna... I am doing it slightly smaller width than the top, just because it's nice. I think on the dragon particularly, it'd be nice to have kind of a sweetheart lips kind of a look. Okay, let's try that. Like I keep saying, it's not going to be perfect. I don't worry about perfection. I never have. Perfect is the enemy of good, etc. You know. Okay, yeah, that looks really uneven from what I'm seeing, but let's go to close up cam again. So yes, that's very uneven, but that's okay. We'll sort that out. We'll just kind of eyeball it and chew it up. All we're really doing with the pattern, with the paper towel patterning, is kind of getting an idea what the size should be, right? Just Ducky, hello, nice to see you. I haven't been getting enough sleep lately. Kidding, obviously. That is one thing that I actually have been. The insomnia spell broke, and I suddenly am sleeping okay. It's okay for me. All right, so same deal, fold it in half. And that's going to be nice and even. Yes, the insomnia has thankfully cleared up just in time for the build stream. So let's get our red fleece again. And same deal, we want it going horizontally across the stretch. We just need a little scrap of it. This is the fleece. I don't know if Leia is either here or if she's going to join and watch the VOD. But this fleece, Leia, this is the same fleece that Arson is made out of. For her goblin she got for me, Arson. This is the same stuff. This is the last of it. Okay, so we're just gonna do our best to trace this out. wanted to be really, really like more exacting than this, I would take this paper pattern and then do it in cardstock. So we have like a sort of stiff pattern to draw against, but this will be fine. I've done this a couple times before. We'll just cut this out. Sorry, I know I'm off camera. It's a very, very narrow field of view for this camera, so there's not a lot I can do about that. Sounds like the kids in the daycare have got inside, maybe? At least they're not screaming, which is usually what they do. They just scream. I don't know why. Do you know why children just scream? I think the reason that the daycare workers let them is because they're trying to hire them out for their parents. Which makes sense. Okay, so there we go. There's our lips. All right. Okay, now we should sew them on. I'm gonna ladder stitch these on. Yeah, what the heck. This is actually going to be the most time-consuming part left of the build. Everything else is really just gluing stuff on and making a couple of holes and stuff like that. So we're going to go, I'm going to have to stand up for this. So let's stand up for this. Make sure I don't, the camera, the overhead camera is like right here, and I keep having to remind myself of that so I don't whack into it. I can actually change that because there's a good optical zoom on this camera. I can actually move it. I was hoping it would have barged on so I could see you got the respirator. I specifically made it so everything we were doing today didn't involve using the respirator for reasons. Let's do the top first. So remember, we want to like make sure that we're inside the mouth as well, because believe me, you don't want to leave like a, the line inside. You want to make sure that you've got coverage. If there is a bit of a gap, but you can fill that in with a marker. It's okay. Shh, don't tell anybody. We're going to pin this on as we want it to sit on the mouth. This is dangerous because I've got the pin's actually going all the way through, and it's sticking out here. I'm gonna make that safer because I will definitely poke myself with the pin. We don't need to get blood on the puppet. This isn't the Blood Puppet. Blood Puppet's a name for a good album. Hello. A good name for an album. I don't know if the album would be good, but how could it go wrong with a name like Blood Puppet? All right, so there we go. It's all right. Blood sacrifices are for computer builds only. You ain't kidding. So I have to perform surgery on the TI-99 4A. Jamie knows why. And I'm actually thinking of shooting it as a video for what will hopefully be the new Pixels and Puppets video channel, which is coming, FYI. I'm not separating it, but we're kind of leaning into the branding. Oh, that's gonna look good. Look at that. Okay, so all we're gonna do is ladder stitch this on. So let me get some red thread. I'm feeling a bit parched. I think it's time for a coffee break. There isn't enough black lipstick on my coffee cup. Also, this is a bad camera angle because you can't see the puppet. All you can see is the back of me. his blood would cost use as equivalent for the PCs. No, every time, this is an old thing, every time the lead's eye, and it's become a trope that you change a mother. It's usually changing a motherboard or doing something with the case, particularly old cases. Before they were all nice and finished, they just had these like ragged edges and these sort of raw steel that's been just been like, you know, cut out of a piece of sheet steel. And so you would always cut yourself, always. So that was known as the blood sacrifice when you're walking around inside your PC. It's a little bit different nowadays because all the cases are all finished and intended to be mucked around with by the end user. That ain't how it's always been, kids, let me tell you. Thank you, this is one of my favorite shirts. People are gonna get a little surprised when all this continues after Halloween, but that's their problem. Okay, so we've got I'm using a curved needle because it makes it a little bit easier to do this. FYI. This is among the least fun things to do. I don't really like doing this, but it's the better way to do it rather than gluing it, because with glue you got one shot and that's it, and if you mess it up, you're done. This, at least, if it goes wrong, you can pull the stitches out and try again. It's true, Jamie did up his goth credit going to the Sisters concert. What was it? You sent me, Andrew Eldridge sounds like the goth Louis Armstrong now. I was trying to think of a joke to send back, but I couldn't come up with anything. Yeah, I mean, that was the remarkable thing about, we went to the those of you who don't know, there's a band primarily known from the 80s called bane of early Google. And so they've been around for a long time, like Matt Johnson, the guy who was the head of it. It was really good. Like, so Matt Johnson, he's not a young man, he's older than me. He sounds identical. Nothing has changed. Like, he's aged clearly, but he sounds exactly the same. It was almost bizarre. It's like you expect everybody's voice changes as they age, right? But Matt Johnson sounds identical. It was a fantastic show. They did the new album in its entirety, which is very nice. It's very sedate, kind of low key. And then they did a selection of greatest hits, and the album Infected, the Infected, is one of my Desert Island discs, and they played a couple of tracks off of that. So I was very happy. It's up there with the Guess Who. We used to joke in my old band. Yes, that's another long story. We wanted to name the band Miscellaneous C, just to confuse record stores. I imagine the was one of those kind of situations, or various artists. Because that's what you want to do as a young band, is make it harder for people to find your music in a record store. So you see why this is not necessarily one of my favorites. This takes a long time. But that's all right. May take a break for some coffee in a minute. Where are we at time-wise? 10:43. 43 minutes into the latest iteration of the build stream. was going to start a band and guests so we could get all sorts of gigs. The most important thing about being in a band is not how you sound, it's what you're called. Listening to quite a lot of new to me metal lately, and I have discovered, if you join the Discord, you know all about my current fascination with Kim Dracula. One of the most talented artists I've ever heard, period. But also, it turns out I really, really like the band that they're opening for right now, and they are going to be in Toronto in December, and I'm very, very tempted to go, but it's also very, very intimidating because I'm old. Yeah, with Andrew Eldritch, like, he always had a very, very deep voice, right? So of course it's going to get ragged as he ages. And I think he probably, also, like, you know, as a vocalist, you need to take care of your voice, and he probably hasn't necessarily been doing that. That's just speculation, but, you know, it's probably a safe bet. All right, so there we go. We're getting there. If I had any aptitude for music, I'd start a band called the Technicolor Pachyderms. The only joke I could think for the goth Louis Armstrong was like, you know, and his well-known recordings, strutting with some existential doubt. What a gloomy world, and goodbye, Dolly. You're here for the puppets, not the writing. Slowly getting there. Where's my pin cushion? There it is. So, what'd you do today? I sewed lips on a dragon. What did you do? How was your day? Jelly Roll should look into a goth album. You know, I have a fantasy in my head of doing some musical stuff again, which is basically like the elevator pitch is Skinny Puppy meets Tom Waits. Because I maintain, and I have always maintained, that there is no conflict. There is a very strong compatibility between the goth thing and the blues thing. And it is only because of Andy Warhol that there was this kind of rejection of the blues in what ended up become typical goth music. All starts with the Velvet Underground and their implicit rejection of the blues scale. There's the sort of urban legend that if anybody in the Velvet Underground played a blues scale, they would be kicked out of the band. And I mean, the reason for that was because all rock and roll, was based on the blues, and they were just trying to do something new and original. So fair enough. But you're really limiting yourself and being very short-sighted when you reject the blues. and the assumption that just because something's popular is bad is not correct, I would say. Hey, Jelly Roll here. I have recently been informed of the futility of existence. You see? It all works. Yeah, Jelly Roll should have a goth phase. That's... But that's one of the things about the. If you listen to most of the's catalog, it is blues based. One of the things that's always made the kind of stand out in the 80s alt music. It is very blues based. Take a ghost tour as in New Orleans? No, we didn't do that. Well, we did go to the cemetery. We went to, oh gosh, I forgot the name. Something Cemetery number 1. There are several, big, open to the public. You gotta have tours. They're very, historically important. We're not, I hate to say it, we're not, typical, ghost tour stuff. They're all very, exploity and very silly. I went to New Orleans for the music, not for anything else. But Homer Plessy, for example, is in that grave or that cemetery, who was one of the early pioneers for civil rights, fought against Jim Crow laws. Both me and my wife, despite having gothic backgrounds and foregrounds, as the case may be, we're not into the spooky New Orleans thing. That's a bit overdone, I'd say. Okay, I'm gonna stop this here because I want to tie it off in here. I haven't gone all the way underneath here, but I think I might glue that. We're in the safety area now. This will be fine. Did you go to New Orleans for the coffee? I partly did go to New Orleans for the coffee. And then, in fact, my regular coffee now is Café du Monde chicory coffee. I drink it so much that I have a non-chicory coffee now and it tastes a bit odd. Going to New Orleans for the food, yes, absolutely. Fortunately, that's going to be a bit tricky for me if I am ever able to go back, because now that I know I'm diabetic, I have to be very careful. And it's real hard to get low-carb food in, the south of the U.S. particularly. The signature dish, red beans and rice. 2 problems with that. One is the red beans and the other is the rice. Okay, so there we go. Top lip is on. I am going to glue this underneath later, but I won't do that on stream. I'll just leave it like that. But there we go. Top lip is pretty much done. I'm going to go through and smooth out these lines a little bit, just with a pin and sort of pick the seams and stuff like that. But I need a little break. I need some. Speaking of coffee. Hey. It's good. Oh, okay. It's good to be back. This lighting is all wrong for this makeup. I should be underlit. Oh, nice to see so many familiar faces, though. You're not seeing a familiar face. Yes, Jamie, how's your AeroPress working out for you? Be able to brew 2 cups at once. That's not ambitious enough for me. I need an AeroPress the size of a Buick. Oh. Maybe I could sit down to sew this next part. Kevin's old and tired. Let's see. I would have to reach up, and that's a little bit awkward. See how this is gonna look. You can't see it, but I can. Oh, it's gonna look good. Yeah. Yep. Oh, it's gonna look real good. Okay. I'm gonna finish my coffee. We're not in a hurry. I was hoping to finish this on stream. You could brew it real strong and just have hot water. My finding with the AeroPress, and the reason I kind of abandoned the AeroPress is because it just uses so much grounds to get to the strength that I want, that it was just not worth it. Like, I couldn't ever get enough extraction out of an AeroPress to be how I favor coffee. I'm a rocket fuel kind of guy, right? So, you know, I'll drink Turkish coffee. Like, just give me the roofing tar. You're drinking 2 cups at the same time? No, that's me. All right, coffee is done. Do we do the bottom lip or do we go on and do other things? I think I want to get to some kind of, like, you know, reveal. I think maybe we'll put the eyes on. I think that will be fun. We've got like just an hour left. I want to get on with something else. We'll see. So let's do the eyes. I think that'll be. It all has to be done. So let's do some of the fun stuff on stream. Oh, you know what? Actually, we should go to the top cam because we're going to need to. We're going to need to. Here we go. We're doing the eyes. So these are my 3D printed eyes, and these are just they're sort of domes with a peg and socket that kind of screws into place. And so these are, nice thing is they're removable and replaceable and easy to mount, and they're, you know, flush on the inside. They're very nice. This is what I use for everything now. But what we want, of course, is some lashes. I should have flushed out my fake lashes before this stream, but did I? No. Oh, golly, I thought I had more than this. Maybe I don't. Uh-oh. Oh, I do. I do. Okay, there we go. Plenty. Got plenty. We're good. It's going to be on goulash. The eyes are the nipples of the face. It's true. I suppose. Okay, here we go. So this is some sticky back craft foam. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the eyelashes on, and then we're going to put the sort of the foam eye line on. And that will secure everything down. But in order to do that, we got to cut a nice even strip of it. So we get our X-Acto knife. And straight edge. This is kind of pointless to measure because it always, the measurements are so small that it always goes a bit wrong. Actually, I'm going to stand up for this. They're supposed to draw the gaze. It's true. So we're going to do this. This is thicker than I normally would. Normally I try to make this quite thin, but this, of course, is supposed to be, it's going to be like an equivalent of makeup, right? So, I mean, it's literally eyeliner. So, you know, I really like nail polish. I always have. I like rings, I like gloves, I like hand augmentation, and it's all part of the craft thing. It's like manual dexterity. So I usually do more than I need just because they're sometimes not as even. I want to get these as matching as you can. These two are pretty good, actually. Maybe we'll go with that. We'll go with that. Okay. So, first thing I'm going to do is put on the eyelashes. Now, the direction of the eyelashes, you can do either. And it just kind of depends on where you want the emphasis. Oh, this is brand new. I haven't even opened this yet. So these are just standard cosmetic eyelashes that are, you know, as long as you can get. Come on. Don't want you to get into this. Okay. So when you peel these off, obviously I've already taken off a couple. There's gonna be some glue, some like skin safe glue on here. We're not going to rely on that because it's designed to come off. Obviously, we want this to be permanent. So you put it on this way. Let's see, maybe we can go to the close-up cam and show this. Here we go. So you can put it on. They're sort of curving outward like that, or go to opposite and put them on so they're curving down. And it really just kind of depends on, curving down is more of a sultry thing, and curving up is more of a, you know, sort of, not surprise, but flamboyant thing. I think we'll go with flamboyant. With the drag on. So the nice thing about that glue is it just kind of, it'll hold it in place, right? There we go. Replacing the skin safe glue with car headlight adhesive. Yes, exactly. So, on camera, kind of. So hard to center this. It's also not staying in focus. I apologize. What's it trying to focus on? I have no idea. Nothing. It's trying to focus on nothing helpful. Oh well. Hopefully you get the out of focus idea. I really should just make this fixed focus and not worry about. At least then something will be in focus, even if it's not necessarily the perfect thing. Let's try to focus on that. AI, I'm telling you, it's no threat. Okay, so as you can see, I've just sort of daisy chained a bunch together, and then we're going to put the black line underneath that. And that's that. So, same deal. I am going over the edge a little tiny bit, which I know is impossible to see because the camera refuses to focus. There, oh, for a brief second to focus. There we go. Yeah, I am going over the edge a little bit because we're going to wrap it around and try to secure it on the back. I had originally hoped to finish this on stream, but obviously I don't think that's going to happen with the lips. Probably should have done the lips ahead of time, but oh well. Too late now. But I will, of course, post photos on the socials. The plan is to finish it today, so. Get the listing up tomorrow. It'd have a bit of an early weekend because I got a lot going on next week, so. Okay, that looks like it should do. Now we've got a little bit of pink fleece. It's kind of found its way over here. That'll probably get covered up. The pupil, but we'll see. I'll clean that off. So, the safe way to do this is to use way more than you need. I think maybe we can get away with cutting this in half. Let's see. Yes, we are doing the eyes. Who did I miss? Somebody showed up. Jen showed up. Jen, hello. Nice to see you. My apologies if I do miss anything in chat. Obviously, I'm only glancing at it every now and then. Let's see. Is that gonna, yeah, that'll be enough. Okay. It's better to use like 2 halves of the same piece because then you're almost guaranteed that they're going to be even. So, being careful to keep the lashes out. So there we go. We're laying that across. You can see. And then we're going to wrap it around the back, and we're going to glue that down with some hot glue on the inside there, and it'll secure it. Samuel, hello. Yes. Yeah, see, I am just catching up on chat. Apologies. So anyway, there we go. There is one of them. Out of focus, is it? I probably next stream I will have this set to a fixed focus so I can at least dial it in. Oh, of course my nose is running again because I'm wearing makeup, so you know. It's like it knows. Patrick, nice to see you. We referenced you earlier because of the fuzzy skin setting on the 3D printer. That's how I did the witch's hat for the small. So thank you again for pointing that out. It's come in handy in a few different ways. Come on, focus just once on the thing I want, please. Nope. Flat out refusal. Technology, I tell you. Okay. You have a slight allergy to makeup? No, I have a medical condition. It's literally my nose just runs. It's a long story. It just happens. There's no controlling it. There's only slightly reducing the impact of it. There we go. That's gonna look pretty good. Yeah, yep. Okay, so just to make sure this all stays secure and nothing unravels with time, we're gonna drop a little hot glue inside here, and I just let that set. Let's go to the top cam because I'm sick of fighting with the autofocus. Away with you, autofocus. Okay, so very simple, just little dab of hot glue in there. Now what often happens is the hot glue kind of loosens this up and will make it lift, so you kind of got to keep an eye on it while the glue sets and tap it back down if it does. But not too much, you don't want to go nuts with the hot glue ever. Just a little bit, just to tack it down. Yeah, see this one's lifting up already. Let me get some kind of tool. There we go, the end of one of these. You don't want to touch that with your fingers. Now the glue is starting to get a bit viscous. You can sort of tap it down. Yeah, see that just lifted right up. That's okay, we can fix it. Kind of spread it around, get it all nice and in there. Make some spider webs because it's Halloween. Okay, so we gotta wait for that to set. While we do, I think I have enough coffee left for another cup. I'm gonna go check. I will be right back. So I'll put up the be right back screen. Hopefully this works because I have tested everything, but we all know what that means. It means something's definitely gonna go wrong. Let's find out. Okay, I'll be right back. That music didn't fade out, did it? It should have. Oh well. Hi, how you doing? I did have enough for another cup, so. Yeah. Okay, anyway, let's have a look at these eyes here. There we go. Not bad, not bad. Yeah. Transition noise would have covered the fade if it happened. That's true. I forgot about the transition noise. That I'm not monitoring, so I don't hear it. I forgot that that thing has audio. Yeah, these are gonna look good. I like how this is going. This is all coming together. Okay, so the next thing that we gotta do, again with the police. Oh, listen, I live in a city. It's nothing but sirens, you know. I promise they're not actually coming for me, despite appearances. That was probably the fire department. Okay, we're done with those. So I'm gonna have to do the holes for mounting the eyes. And while we're at it, I'm also have these horns, and all these are just 3D printed. I really like the shape of these; are all it's very pleasing. And I just glued in some doll joints in the bottom of them, so we're just gonna pop these on. But we also have to make the mounting holes for these, so I'm gonna do it all at the same time. We have to sort of figure out what the placement's gonna be. That's next. But at the moment, I have some coffee, so we're gonna finish the. I feel like the way I'm speaking and the way I'm looking are not matching. Oh, good to be back, folks. How did you make this stuff before 3D printer? Some of it I didn't. Some of it is I can only do because of the 3D printer. A lot of the times, like for eyes, for example, the way I would make eyes, that they weren't removable. This is the nice thing about having the 3D printer is I can now do these with the screw bolts on the back so that these are actually removable. You can take these off. I would usually use, for any place that I would use like a screw and bolt situation, like a button nut and bolt situation, I would usually use doll joints, which are great, but the disadvantage is that once they're on, they're permanent. You have to break the doll joint to take it off. So This is much better, the 3D printer. But things like eyes, I would either resin cast this or I would sort of fabricate it in some way. Usually, ping pong balls are a very useful a resource for early puppet builders. If I'm going to do a sphere eye, I will still either use a ping pong ball or the EVA foam spheres from Puppet Pie. But if I'm doing hemispherical dome eyes, I always 3D print them down. For things like horns or teeth or stuff like that, I would often just carve them out of foam. And I would just hand carve them out of foam. And what's nice about that is A, they're very lightweight, and B, they're soft, they're squishy. So you can put like teeth in the mouth, and then when the mouth closes, it just compresses the teeth, and then they spring back when the mouth opens. So you can do a little bit more with carved foam features like that, particularly when it's in a place that's going to get compressed. So you can't do that with 3D printed stuff because then they're just hard plastic. So it's because I hit it and it causes all kind of problems. That won't be a problem for the dragon. Oh, that's one thing I should show. I've got some special plan for the teeth. We'll make the holes, make the mounting holes for the eyes and the horns, and then I'll show you what I have planned for the teeth. We might wrap there. Possibly, we'll see. I also have to put the nails on, but that's just hot glue. And I haven't figured out what I want to do with the tongue yet. I might carve a tongue out of foam. I'll see if I have enough foam to do that. I want just kind of a long, pointy, carved foam tongue. I don't know if I have enough foam to actually do that, but we'll see. And if I do, maybe we'll start that as the last thing on the build stream. Can the plastic 3D pieces be dyed? I was thinking about color gradients. So I don't know, actually. I've never tried. You can get filaments that have like gradients in them, but I don't think you can really control the gradient. You can paint them, obviously, like you could anything else. So for something that would require a gradient, you would probably want to like manually paint it. If you have like an airbrush, that would be ideal. But yeah. Sand, prime, and paint. Yeah, exactly. Because you're basically just making a plastic model, right? So you would treat it the same way that you would a model kit. Yeah, that's what I would do for a gradient. Which is why I don't do a lot of gradients. Or any, for that matter. You paint it with glowing paint, so the horns will glow in the dark. You sure could. In fact, I think you can get glow-in-the-dark 3D filament. And I'll show you something special that I have done with the filament for the teeth. Maybe we should just show that now. What the heck? Why am I teasing stuff? We're going to show it, so, what are you going to do? Go away? Okay. Let me show you what I've got planned for the teeth, and then we'll move on to the fun part where we play with fire, literally. Old timers will know that. Some of you new folks. This will be the dangerous part of the stream. Okay, let's go to. This is probably the only camera that I can get everything in, but it's not going to be great for showing this off. So I've got these 3D printed teeth. Now I've got these, which I did as the fangs. I know it's kind of hard to, it's got to be a better way to do this. There is no camera angle that is exactly the right one for this. Maybe we can do it a little bit better. Copper-clad welding rod, not just for arm rods. It's true. Yeah, okay, this is a little bit better. So I've got these, I 3D printed these, modeled them, and I curved them a little bit. So, right, so we've got these nice kind of curved fangs. And then I have slightly smaller straight ones that I'm just going to sort of put in between. I know it's hard to see. It's hard to hold in place too. But then I would think for the other fang, what I've got, I have some metallic filament, so I 3D printed a gold one. So she's gonna have one gold fang. I really, really like that. I think it's gonna look good. A lot of personality there. So, it's the little touches that matter. So that's what we're gonna do for the teeth. And those are just gonna get hot glued on. But for mounting the eyes and the horns, a bling tooth. It's true. Every good queen needs some bling. Okay, let's get the dragon back on the stand here. So, I know some people try and get it very even and try and do it like mathematical and everything. I always eyeball this stuff, and that's probably a bad thing. I wouldn't even know how to start trying to like lay this, like getting the holes perfectly mathematically even. I don't even know. Sometimes you got to take more than one crack at it. But basically what we need is we need a hole in exactly the center of where the eyes are going to sit. So usually what I do is I just kind of place them on the head and see. Oh, that's going to look really good. And we know we want them at an angle. We want a little bit of space in between them. So that looks pretty good right there. So then what I do after I figure out about where they're going to sit is I'll take one away so I have a free hand. I grab a pin, and I'll just kind of lift this up and figure out where the center is. And then pin where the center is. And then same deal, put that over. There. See where the center is. Right there. There we go. So that's where we know we want our holes. I'm going to actually mark that with a little marker. Just a little tiny spot, so you know, in case this goes wrong, this won't be a permanent. This will be easy to cover up. Sort of look at it and say, does that look even from here? I think that'll be all right. We'll see. Remember, these eyes are quite wide, so if I need to make multiple points at which they will bounce in, that's feasible. Oops. Careful there. Now the other thing is, of course, that the bolt that goes in this is quite it's quite a bit of girth to it, so we're going to need to make a big hole. The foam will stretch, of course, but you don't want to do a lot of damage here. So I'm thinking maybe I won't put the lower lip on. That actually kind of looks good the way it is, but I don't know. We'll see. So of course the other thing is the horns. Well, while we're making holes, we might as well continue. So same deal. Sort of figure out what looks logical by eyeballing it. And we hold one, mark that. The other. Mark that. Look at the pins to make sure they look even. And draw our reference point. So now comes the fun part. She's got a crack of thunder sound effect queued up. First thing I'm going to do is close the door to the studio, because we're going to be generating some smoke. I've got some weather stripping around the door, so things like barge fumes and what we're about to do doesn't get into the rest of the apartment. I'm also going to put my fan on in the window here so we can vent the nasty stuff, because we're about to literally play with fire. What I've got here, longtime viewers will know this. This is a copper-clad steel welding rod. This is what I use for arm rods. It is also designed to be heated up. This is a pair of vice grips. I'm going to put the copper clad welding rod in the vice grips. You'll notice it's blackened on either end. But you can guess what's coming. This is a culinary butane torch. What we are going to do is we are going to heat up the end of this until it glows. Being very careful to point this away from anything flammable. This is why we've got the fan venting. I also am aware of where the fire extinguisher is. We have one for the apartment. Be very, very careful if you're ever doing this. This is very dangerous. There's a reason why we do this. I'll talk about it in a minute. Rather than just like taking it all and making like punching a hole. There's a reason why we want to burn it. But let me just get this done. Here we go, play with fire. So, although you can kind of see the flame on the camera. We're just heating this up. Okay, the tip is glowing. So we go poke, make a bigger hole. Poke, make a bigger hole. Poke, these ones should be quite small. Poke, and there. Now we're done. That's it. Like all this smoke is around here, eh? Yeah. Does not smell good, let me tell you. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting this in front of the fan. The end of that wire is still quite hot, so don't touch it. Let it cool. I'm also turning off the valve and locking the torch so it isn't able to spontaneously generate a flame. And we're going to give this a minute because this is still quite hot in here. But the reason that we do this, the reason that we burn holes rather than punch a hole, is because punching a hole is destructive. You're going to rip and tear things. Whereas this, because this is all synthetic material, it's literally just melting plastic, and what you end up with is basically a cauterized, a nice sealed, clean hole. And so this isn't actually causing damage, because damage can spread. Once you tear something, it can keep tearing and get bigger. So there we go. The holes look like small eyes. I know, right? Yeah. So now what we're gonna do, we'll do the eyes first. Let me move this out of the way. Is I'm going to take, these are really big. I really should have made at least the handle part of these smaller, but too late now. We'll take these and we want to push these up from the inside. I'm going to completely ruin my nail polish by doing this. These holes may need to be actually a bit bigger. Let's see if I can get it through. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. Sometimes you just gotta kind of work it. So we're just pushing the peg through. I put forth the name Terry Rar for the drag on it, honor of the dearly departed Terry Gar. Yes, Inga from Young Frankenstein has shuffled off this mortal coil. One of the last original cast members who is still with us. I'm knocking stuff all over the place here. All right, so we do the same on the other side. These are really big. I think these may be too big. Oh well. We'll see, we'll just roll with it. Nothing's ever perfect. This one's going on a little bit easier. Okay, so now that these are in just enough, and you can see they're just kind of poking through. Just enough to get these on. And this is the advantage of doing this. I can see right away I may have to change the mounting hole for the horns because they're way too close to the eyes. I did not take that into account. In fact, the eye is covering up the mounting hole for the horns. That's okay. That's actually good. We're just tightening that bolt at about the right angle. Looks good, looks good. Same deal here. And of course, like I said before, the really nice thing about this is these eyes can be taken off if I decide I don't like them or I want a different shape or whatever, right? Or I want to reposition them or whatever you want to do. Options. It gives you options. Who doesn't love options? Okay, now I'm not tightening them too much because we want to adjust them, and after I get them kind of the angle the way I like it, oh, that looks good. That's when I'll really tighten the bolts down. Terrier R is pretty good. So, oh yeah. Yep. It's a goodie. It's a goodie. Yeah, like the horn holes are gone. They're just like, they are cut out of there. I will toss in a little stitch and seal that up because it is a little bit exposed. But I just want to make sure that that doesn't get out visible. But other than that, yeah. Yeah, she's good. This is good. This is good stuff. Look at that. Even without pupils. It's pretty good. Okay, so... yeah. Good stuff. Where are we going to put the horns then? Maybe we should put the horns like back here. In which case I can kind of line them up with the back of the eyes. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Let's try that. I like that. That's not bad. And of course, these horns are probably going to flop around a little bit, so we want to... Now, that's not going to make a big difference once the hair goes on. I might change up how I do the horns for the finished one, but we'll see. I'm not going to worry about marking this. I'll just burn the other holes and get those horns on there just for the stream. Here we go, more fire. Pin out, hole in. Other side, gotta move quickly. Boom. Okay. Here we go. Let's try that. For the horns. Closing off the torch again. Safety first. And I've got the other end, the locking washer part of the dull joint right here. So, just put these in and see. Okay, let's snap it down. Let's just go for it. I don't got time to be messing around. Well, that's actually going to give some nice motion. It's going to flop around a little bit, just enough to be fun and interesting. There we go. Snapping the washer on. Yeah, oh, that's good. Look at that. That's good. Yeah. Let's see here, I gotta actually get my fingers in the... Hello. Yep. Yeah, well, that's the thing, like the foam skull is just, you know, I could put like a plate under there and make it wide and that will stiffen it, but I don't want to. That's good. That's good secondary motion right there. So the thing I'm thinking of doing with the hair, I can show you that while we're on this camera. Yeah, the stand is actually moving where the horns are. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty good. So she is going to have like a stripe of blonde fur that goes around down the whole back. And then for the hair, so I've taken this, it's just like a Barbie doll sized blonde wig, and I've glued, I made a little sort of skull cap in there, and I glued that in. I actually cut this a little bit to sort of spread it out. And this is just going to go kind of here across one side, very sort of Gloria Swanson, right? Yeah, maybe we'll put it, like part of it on the other side of the horn, but the horn will help keep it in place, right? And I think that'll look good. It's just kind of a side, it's a lock, you know? I think that'll look good. I'll worry about that. I'm gonna do the ridge along the back first. And we don't really have a lot of time for that, so maybe I'll save that for later and post up pictures. Let's just do the nails. I need something easy to do. That was actually fairly high pressure, but thankfully it worked out. But I think I need something nice and low pressure right now, so let's just do the nails. So, what camera should this be? Wow, there's no good camera for this. Let's see. Can you see here? Maybe you can actually. Maybe this is the only moderately, because this is the only way where you're going to see the actual hands. You can kind of see that. Maybe I can get the camera a bit closer. Nah, not really. So all I'm going to do, these are just 3D printed. I'm just going to put a little dab of hot glue on the inside. It will melt the plastic, so be aware, because this is just a PLA plastic, so the hot glue is hot enough to melt it. And this is always how I do nails. Just a little dab of glue and then on the inside. So you just want a little bit on the end, on the underside where you're not going to see it. And you pop it on and just hold it in place. That's it. Sure that I'm not making a big mess. Ironically, this is how drag queens attach nails too, you know? Gals is tough, it wouldn't surprise me. Won't take, it's not, never do this, yeah. So there we go, there's, right? Not bad. Not bad. Very simple. And yeah, you could use just regular, like, you know, fake nails. You can just go buy fake, like, press-on nails and do this. You don't have to 3D print them. I just happened to have all this stuff to do that, so it was more convenient for me to do that. I'm not gonna do the teeth yet because I need to finish the lips before I do that, so. They do use a lot of hot glue on design challenge. Well, it's like cosplay too, right? That's one of the things, like, hot glue has limited uses, but it does come in handy in a pinch. You just need to get something stuck on, and it doesn't necessarily need to last. This will last just because, like, it's plastic on fabric. Anything that's porous, hot glue will work on, but if it's not, it probably won't. And boom. Just wait for a second for the glue to set up. And there we go. Move the hot thing out of the way. And there we are. Fabulous. Change the angles of this. Yeah, not bad. Looking good. Okay. Wowzers. We're almost at time, and anything else that I would have to do would take a longer time than I have, be very involved. So we're probably going to call it there, I think. I will finish this today and post the pictures up on the socials. So there we go. We are back. So yeah, the plan is to do this regular again every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern. And just building whatever I'm happen to be building for the week. I'm always building something, so there we go. Nice to see you all. Thank you for dropping by. This has been, thankfully, more people than I thought have shown up, so that's good. I'll try to fix the PeerTube streaming for next time. I'll also archive this on the PeerTube server just so it's still there. For my folks in the Fediverse, of course, as always. So yeah, with the podcast, the most recent podcast went out last weekend, so we're not doing it this weekend, we're doing it the weekend after. And that's kind of it. I hope to be back to also streaming some other stuff, some stuff for Pixels and Puppets. So there'll be some tech stuff and some gaming stuff. Still haven't quite decided exactly what that's going to look like yet, but we will see. Thank you, Just Ducky. Thank you, JB. Thank you, everybody else who was here, Pinecone, Heisenberg, all that good stuff. So happy Halloween, everyone. It's good to be back in more ways than one. Okay, we're gonna check out now. I'm gonna go get some lunch at some point soon. So have a good day, have a good weekend. Stay tuned, operationpuppet.com for all of the links as usual. It's Devil's Night, be sure to watch The Crow, absolutely. The one with Brandon, what's his name? Lee, not that new thing. The good one, anyway. Brandon Lee, thank you. Yes, I'm gonna go now. Farewell.